Hello dear friends, we are more than happy to see you in our city tour around Samara. We hope that you will like it. And also, please don't forget that you can ask questions in any time in WhatsApp and YouTube. So, it's time to start our tour. Hello, hello, dear International School on our streets, how are you?
Hello, my name is Elena. I'm a licensed tour guide of Samara, and today we're going to have a short sightseeing tour around our city. We begin our tour in the political center of Samara. It is Glory Square. First of all, today Samara is one of the greatest industrial centers of the Russian Federation. Many industries are concentrated in our region. Among them, the largest ones are metal industry, oil industry, aircraft design industry, space design industry, automobile industries, and so on. And in the middle of the square, you can see a tall monument. It's behind me. You can see a worker holding wings above his head. It's a symbol, first of all, of our aircraft industry, and particularly of all the industries which are in one way or another are connected with this one, because oil industry gives fuel, metal industry gives material for our aircrafts, and so on. Glory Square is the political center of our city. To the left from the monument, you can see the central office of our governor, and the government of Samara region also works in this house. It's got a so-called nickname of White House. You know, there is only one White House in Washington, D.C., but in Russian Federation, in our country, after 1991, when the boundaries of Russia, of the former Soviet Union, became opened, White Houses, nicknames for White Houses, appeared in every city and in every region. It's a nickname for a place where the government of the particular, or where the local government of the particular place works. So behind me is the White House of Samara, the central office of our governor and the government of the city. And now I invite you to appreciate a very picturesque view from this square. So follow me and we'll see one of the most beautiful attractions of our region. It's the Volga River. The Volga River influences, first of all, the climate of our region. It's a so-called continental climate, but at the same time, it's very much influenced by the humidity. Normally, in summer, we've got temperatures up to 30 and sometimes even 40 above zero. This year, we are enjoying a very unusual hot summer. Practically for more than 3 months, the temperature has not gone lower than 30 or 25 above zero. And today we're enjoying nearly 20 degrees above zero. As for winter, Russia is famous for its severe winters. And to tell the truth, in Samara, the temperatures in winter usually go down up to 15 normally, or even 20 below zero. Sometimes even up to 26 and 28. But due to the humidity, we say that 15 degrees minus in Samara is even colder than 50 degrees minus in Siberia because of the influence of the Volga River. The Volga River is mostly frozen in winter, and you can even walk to the other bank of the river. So now we've come closer to that picturesque view over the river. The Volga is the longest river of the European continent. Its length is nearly 3,500 kilometers. The trees, which you can see on the other bank, it's not the other bank, it's an island. The Volga River is nearly 2 kilometers wide in Samara, and the other bank of the Volga is where the hills are. They look like hills, and they are really hills, but we call them mountains. They are the Zhiguli Mountains. The nature of our region is really very, very beautiful and unique. On the other bank of the Volga River, on the opposite bank from Samara, there is a so-called semi-island, a so-called peninsula. If we have a look on the map, we'll see that the Volga River goes straight from the north to the south. But nearly in the middle of its way, it meets the Zhiguli Mountains, and it has to change its way, and only after the Volga River turns, it continues its way down the map. So a so-called peninsula is formed. This peninsula is occupied by the Zhiguli Mountains. It's a really very unique place due to its nature. The main thing is that during the Ice Age, the ice did not reach the Zhiguli Mountains. And up till now, here we can see the plants which were typical to the pre-Ice Age. On the other hand, the winds from the ice brought here the seeds of the northern plants. And today, just in one small territory, you can see plants which are typical not only to our climatic zone, but you can see also plants from the north of our country, from Siberia, for example, and at the same time from the south parts of our country, like the Crimea and the Caucasus. So the Crimea, the Caucasus, and the Siberia, they're separated by thousands of kilometers, but here all this nature meets together. So nowadays, all the territory of the Zhiguli Mountains is a natural reserve, but if you pay some fee, you can go there and enjoy the beautiful nature of the Zhiguli Mountains. So, the Zhiguli Mountains is a very picturesque place. I wish that one day you'll come here and to see everything by your own eyes.
About the Zhiguli Gates.
So, the Zhiguli Gates, this attraction is just behind me. I've told you that the Volga River makes a great turning near Samara, so it goes between those two slopes. To the left are the Zhiguli Mountains. To the right, that wide slope is the peak of the Falcon Mountains, on which Samara is situated. It is the narrowest place of the Volga River. I've told you that the Volga River is nearly 2 kilometers wide near Samara. But as for the Zhiguli Gates, it's only 800 meters. It's the narrowest place. And I think I have explained while we call the Zhiguli Mountains not hills. The highest peak of the Zhiguli Mountains is only 351 meters high. But we still call them mountains because when the Zhiguli Mountains appeared, they are not of volcanic origin, they are of tectonic origin. So about 10 million years ago, one part of the ground went up and the Zhiguli Mountains were formed. At that time, the Zhiguli Mountains were up to 1,000 meters above the sea level. But on the top of them, there were mostly clays and sands, and time passed and they went down to the bottom of the mountains. On the other hand, the Zhiguli Mountains are made of limestone. It's a very weak natural material, so it suffers from erosion. That's all led to the thing that today the Zhiguli Mountains are not very high, only 351 meters above the sea level. But if you go there, you'll see that they look like real mountains with peaks, with mountain valleys. So we can say that we have a so-called model of the mountains in Samara region. This glory square was designed in 1970s after the victory in World War II. Our people decided that we must have a separate square to celebrate that great event. It must be said that World War II was practically the hardest time in the history of our country. When I say our country, I mean practically the former Soviet Union. We don't speak, when we are talking about World War II, we don't speak only about Russia. We speak about all former Russian republics, like Georgia, like Ukraine, like Kazakhstan, and so on. And in the former Soviet Union, there is no a family which is not connected with World War II. Every family has relatives who were killed, our great-grandfathers, who were killed during World War II or who took part in that war. And as it is Glory Square, there is tradition in our country to have a flame in a place where we commemorate our relatives who were killed during World War II. We also have that flame here in Glory Square. It is burning all year round, and that is practically the first place where people go on different official events. Of course, we put flowers here on Victory Day. Also, young couples on their wedding day, when they have a so-called wedding tour, our Glory Square is the first place where they go, where they normally go after they have signed all the documents that they are married. They have a wedding tour, and the first place they normally visit is Glory Square. They go up to the flame to put the flowers to commemorate their relatives. Behind the flame, you can see a face of a woman. It's like our motherland who sent your sons to the war. I've told you that all the families in our country, all people, are connected with World War II. And from our region, only from Samara region, more than 600,000 people went to the war. More than a half of them never came back. So that was really the hardest time in our history. As it is Glory Square and we commemorate our heroes here, and the patron saint of all the soldiers in our Orthodox religion is Saint George, or we call him George the Winner. So not long ago, but practically 20 years ago, a new cathedral was built here. You can see it behind the flame. It's the Cathedral of St. George, the patron saint of all the soldiers. And now please follow me and we'll have the idea how the Orthodox Church look from inside. Okay. Okay, we'll come nearer to the flame. So that is the place where people come to commemorate their relatives. It's burning all year round, even in the winter when the temperatures are 25 minus, because I think we'll never forget, we must not forget about such events in our history. So, the Cathedral of St. George. It must be said that, unfortunately, during the Soviet period of our history, Orthodox religion was the main religion against our Communist Party struggled, because it was thought that the people in our country mustn't have any religion except the party, and they must have like one God, the leader of the party. So all the religions were somehow prohibited in our country, and as the Orthodox religion was the main one, it was the main religion against which our Soviet people, our leaders of our country struggled. And unfortunately, practically all the churches, Orthodox churches and cathedrals, they were ruined during the Soviet period of our history. Just to let you know, before the October Revolution of 1917, there were nearly 60 Orthodox churches in our city. Nowadays, we can see only 6 old ones which have survived during the years of the Soviet Union. All the rest, they were destroyed. Nowadays, after 1991, when the Soviet Union was ruined somehow, was separated into several countries, we have rebuilt some of them where it was possible, and nowadays very many modern churches are being constructed. As I've told you, this square is the first place where young couples go during their sightseeing tour. So, not long ago, here appeared one more monument, one more sculpture. It's the sculpture, the monument to the patron saints of family in our Orthodox religion. Their names are Peter, you can see him to the left, and Fevronia, his wife, you can see her to the right. In this monument, you can see all the symbols of true love and devotion in our Russian culture. First of all, you can see a boat, and the nose of the boat is in the shape of a swan. The ring, the thing that a man puts on the woman's finger as the symbol that they are together up till their death. You can also see a pigeon here, the symbol of peace all over the world, I think. The icon, the main icon which is the patron icon again of the family. So this monument is to the patron saints of family in our country. And now again, to see closer the Orthodox religion, I invite you to enter the St. George Cathedral, the Cathedral of George the Winner. This cathedral, on the one hand, it's a modern one, but on the other hand, it was constructed in a typical old Russian architectural style. It is not allowed to talk inside the church, so just I'll say a few words before we enter it, and if any questions, you are welcome after we go out. Okay, we need some time for technical moments. Прошение службы сейчас идет, нет? У нас просто онлайн-экскурсия для иностранцев. Мы прямо на 2 минуточки зайдем, покажем.
Заходим.
Okay, first of all, I have to explain that in our Orthodox religion, when women enter a church or a cathedral, they have to cover their head. So I've done that, and now we can enter the church.
Hello, hello, dear friends. Happy to see you again, and I'm here to say that don't worry, our excursion will continue. But me here to say you, please be active and write comments and questions in our chat. We will be more than happy to answer them. Our guide Yelena, she absolutely free, and she will be more than happy to answer on your question. Yes, ask and maybe share your emotion, like smile. Send smile and it will be cool. So now I'm here from our international school team that they are ready to continue our excursion, and let's continue. Hello, hello again. I'm more than happy to see you here with me. Yes, as you noticed, I have a special helper for connection with our team. Yes, now you see the secrets of our streams. And I would like to tell you that now we're located in the Samara University. And in Samara University, we have a special place behind me, the green wall, and we can post whatever we want. For example, like this picture or some other kind of picture. Our friends of international school teams, they have special, just mobile phone and special application Larix. Larix broadcaster, you can Google it, and with the help of Larix and vMix program, vMix on the computer, we can make a stream to connect with each other, stream from phone to stream from computer, and then it comes to YouTube, and then you see our stream on YouTube. So it was the secrets of stream. Let's continue talking about Samara, and especially here I'm stating again to remind you, please be active and send question to our chat or just emotion. We will be more than happy to see you. You say, oh no, Masha stands again and ask us do something, but why not? Why not? For example, my congratulations to you, because today the end of our hot period of Samara, and the weather near 25 degrees. It's not so hot it was during the summer. I hear from our international school team that they are ready to continue our excursion, and I think we will see them soon. And now I try to understand they are ready or not, but I think they are ready because we have very interesting activity now. They continue our tour. But before we start, I suggest you to watch the short video. Dear technical director, could you help me please and show the video of Samara, and then I will make a comment about this video. Hello again. The previous video which you saw, it was a view of embankment, and this video of Samara embankment, I hope that you like it. It's 7, no, maybe near 5 p.m. But now we again return to our international school team. So see them. In several seconds they will join us. And this video made this summer, early in the morning. But now, international school team, they would like to tell you something message, and then they will move to the next place of our excursion. So, international school teams, how are you? Hello, hello.
So, due to the fact that the walls of the cathedral are very thick, so unfortunately there isn't any signal from inside the cathedral, but we've made you a short video just for you to have an idea how our churches, our Orthodox churches, look from inside. So that's all for this very beautiful place, for this Glory Square. Now we are going to continue our tour. I'll see you in our other square, which is called Kuibyshev Square. And now I give her the turn for the studio.
So it was again our hello with the guys who on our Glory Square, and they will go where? To the next location, but I don't want to tell you this location. That will be the secret. And now we would like to show you the next video, but this video it was made by now in the church, which unfortunately our internet didn't show it, but our team there have already made a video and you will see it. So let's enjoy the view of church inside together.
So, okay, let's enter the cathedral. I have covered my head, as it is a tradition in our Orthodox religion that women have to cover their heads before they enter a church. So please follow me. So from here you can see how our Orthodox churches are very brightly decorated from inside. So you can have a view. We'll make a video over the decoration. So our churches are decorated from inside, and all the churches have golden domes from the outside. So the cathedral is not very wide, it's not very large from inside, but still many people can come here for different religion services. Okay, we can go up now.
We hope that you like this video and now you try to feel that it was like some mysterious and cool, and you feel our specific of church. And now I would like to answer on your question about the situation in COVID-19. And in Samara, yes, we have people who unfortunately ill this type of illness, and they recover, they try to feel better. Concerning our some maybe vaccination, yes, we have, it's not a problem to get a vaccine, and we have not one but 3 types of vaccine. And if we talk about studies, we have 2 variants, offline and online format. Offline format, it's only just for some small groups. And if you talk about the lectures all in online format. Now I told the information also only about our university. And I think it's all question about this situation. And now I'll give you some time to relax when our team moving. And we will show you Samara in the different series, in the different type of our seasons. Yes, winter, spring and autumn. So let's see the video. This video make like from special event. And now it's time to see the video open day in the code of this video for our technical director. So enjoy it.
So from the political center of our city, from Glory Square, we've come to Kuibyshev Square. It's the central square of the city. They say it is the largest square in Europe, but I say always but. It is the largest square, but together with the 4 gardens in its corners. So together with the gardens, the square, the territory of the square is the largest in Europe. But the square itself is not larger than, for example, Red Square in Moscow. This square is called Kuibyshev Square. In the middle of it, you can see a monument to Valerian Kuibyshev. Valerian Kuibyshev was the leader of the Communist Party in Samara in 1917 when the October Revolution happened. So, after his death, his name was given to our city. And during the Soviet period, from 1934 up till 1991, Samara was called Kuibyshev. Only in 1991, our historical name Samara was returned to the city. Behind the monument, you can see the building of the Opera and Ballet House. This square is the central square from events of all kinds. First of all, we have our military parade every year when we celebrate the Victory Day on the 9th of May. We have military parade to celebrate this great event, and it is held here in this square. Also in September, we are going to celebrate the birthday of our city. All the ceremonies will happen also here in Kuibyshev Square. Now, for example, behind me you can see some kind of a sport event. It's a small area for street ball. It's a game, a kind of basketball, but it is played only by 3 players. Our governor is a fan of basketball. He plays basketball himself. So every year there is some kind of a night league of basketball in our city, and now such platforms are here for those who can come and play here street ball. During our way to this square, I was told that there was one question from our audience. So the question was about tolerance in our region. A very good question, especially, thank you for that question, especially for our region. It must be said that in Samara region, the diversity of religion and nationality is really very, very wide. In Samara region, the representatives of more than 150 nationalities live. On the other hand, here in our region, all the main world religions are also represented. Of course, the main one is the Orthodox religion, but at the same time, we have a Catholic church, a Lutheran church. One of the largest mosques in our country is also here. We have quite a large Muslim population. Synagogue also is in our streets. So a very large diversity, religion diverse. And on the other hand, it must be said that through its history, there have been no conflicts in our region on the basis of religion or nationality. Maybe it can be, it is the result of the fact that initially Samara was founded as a fortress, but then it lost its military meaning and it was turned into a great trade center due to its geographical position. And our population up till 1917 was mostly represented by merchants. Maybe due to the merchant character, such tolerance can be understood. Because for a merchant, for a businessman, for a merchant, it's no matter which religion or nationality you are. The main thing that help me do my business, bring me money, and everything will be okay. So maybe due to that, our tolerance can be understood. But still, I can say it for sure, no conflicts on the basis of religion or nationality in spite of the fact that such a great diversity of religion and nationalities can be found in our city. And now, from the largest square on Samara, I invite you to follow me to the smallest, but to my mind, to the most coziest square of our city.
What in the Kulbyshevo Square in winter?
Hello again from studio. I think you like this view. Unfortunately, there are not so many comments, and we will be more than happy if you will ask us. And you see the video from, yes, from winter in Samara. If we talk about the temperature of in our degrees in Samara, it's maybe minus 25, minus 20, but sometimes hotter. Yes, and there are a lot of snow, and Samara, like a typical Russian maybe city, looks like some magic fairy tale with the snow. And if we talk about the New Year period, it's so cool. So now our international school teams, they are moving further. Would like to show you the interesting object. Maybe they will show you their road to this object, because this object also important for our citizens, not only for the in Samara, but for the whole Russia. And this object will show you the secrets of the Second World War. And maybe you didn't heard about this unique place in Samara before our tour. And our team, they are moving closer. And I think you will like the next object. Unfortunately, we can't go inside, but we will be nearby, and it's also cool. Yes. Please be active, and I would like to tell you that I unfortunately forgot to remind you what to tell information about our Instagram, summerschool_Russia. And you can tag us in Instagram post, stay hashtag, and it will be funny. Yes, dear friends. Also, let's wait. I hear that our international school teams come closer to our next object. They will show you not one, but two objects. Weather is so cool, and why not to walking around Samara city.
Okay, before we are going to visit the square, now I would like to show you a very small door which can be even not noticed by a person who is passing by, but still it's an entrance, it's the entrance into one of the most unique constructions in our city. During World War II, Kuibyshev, as I've told you, Samara was named Kuibyshev during the Soviet period of our history. So during World War II, the government of the Soviet Union, when the Hitler's army came very close to Moscow, a decision was taken to evacuate the government of our country from Moscow into Kuibyshev. And our city, for nearly 2 years, became a so-called second capital of the Soviet Union, as the government of the Soviet Union was working here in this very building. But in case if Stalin came, a bunker was specially constructed for him. This bunker was called Stalin's bunker, and behind me is the entrance into this bunker. The construction of the bunker was a top secret. 600 men, only workers from 35 up till 45 years old, came here to Kuibyshev, and only during 9 months they finished the construction of the bunker. The bunker goes down up to 37 meters under the ground. This bunker wasn't constructed for living. It was constructed to be used only in case of emergency, in case of bombing or in case of gas attack. So there are no bedrooms there are no kitchens. Just there are several levels, and on each level there is only a room as a working place for the member of the government. And on the lowest level there is the largest room of the bunker for the meetings of the government, and a small room for Stalin as the working place for the leader of our country. It must be said that the construction of the bunker was a top secret. Even people who were living neighborhood, they did not notice anything. And this bunker was really a great surprise for the local people when in 1991 the documents about the bunker became non-secret. We were really surprised to find such a unique construction just under us in the city center. Today, Stalin's bunker is one of the most famous attractions of our city. During the FIFA Football World Cup of 2018, when Samara was one of the host cities for the football matches, and lots of guests, lots of football fans from abroad came to our city, this bunker was the second attraction where our guests went after the Space Museum of our city. And now we are going to see the Чапаев Square, but before we go there, we have one question. As for parades, I've told you that each year when we celebrate the 9th of May, our Victory Day, we have a military parade. Samara has a central office of Russian army, so we are really lucky to have fine military parades with all the guns, tanks, cars, lots of soldiers who are marching along the square. So a really very great event. As for international events, maybe the largest one in our history up till now is the FIFA Football World Cup. It was really a very great event, and lots of things had been done, especially for that event. First of all, Samara Arena, our new stadium, was constructed. On the other hand, we are really thankful for that event, because when our government was preparing for FIFA Football World Cup, they reconstructed many roads. They somehow repainted all the historical buildings. So Samara experienced very many changes during the period when we were preparing for that great event. So I think that's... One more question? We'd better ask this question to the police. But still, I must say that, for example, the football fans who came here in 2018, they were really surprised by the great hospitality of the Russian people, and they were really surprised for the safeness of Russia for all the comers, for all the foreigners. So I can say that the crime level of crime is very low in Samara. It's really safe to live here and to come to Samara. Okay, now follow me and we are going to see the smallest square of Samara. To the right we are passing a modern building, very interesting architecture. That is just apartments, but still it's a very, I can't say it's very beautiful, but still unusual building for our city. Okay, now we've come up to Chipaev Square. We have to cross the road here. Yeah, it's just a small parking place for the central part. It's very difficult to find parking place in the center of Samara, so some cars can be parked here. But back to the square, Chipaev Square. In the middle of it, you can see a monument to Vasily Chipaev. He is riding a horse himself in the middle of the monument. So Chipaev was an officer of the Red Army. After the October Revolution of 1917, civil war began in our country. The country was separated into two parts. The first one, a so-called White Army, they were people who were supported monarchy. On the other hand, the Red Army was the second part of the conflict. They were the people who supported the new regime. So Chipaev was an officer of the Red Army, and in this monument he is surrounded by the real participants of the civil war. You can see a peasant, a worker, a sailor, even a woman here, so real people who took part in that civil war on the side of the Red Army. And today this square is called Chipaev Square due to that officer, due to the hero of the civil war. As for, okay, we've got one question about different nature catastrophes which happen in our city, in our region. Just one legend. 2 centuries before the fortress of Samara was founded, in the forests, in a place where the river Samara, which gave the name for the fortress, flows into the Volga River, there lived a monk. And the ruler, it was the 14th century. And the ruler of our Orthodox Church of that period, Alexei, on his way from Turkey to Moscow, he spent one night at the house of that monk. And when he woke, during that night, he saw a dream. And when he woke up the next morning, he came up to the Volga River and he said that one day there would be a great city here which would never be destroyed. It must be said that 2 centuries passed. The fortress of Samara was founded. Alexei became the patron saint of our city. And really his words came true. Because not during World War II, not during the war with Napoleon, no foot of no enemy stood on our land. As for the nature catastrophes, yes, we have the Zhiguli Mountains, but they are nearly 10 million years old, so I can't remember any earthquakes. About maybe 15 or 18 years ago, there was very slight shaking in the gates, in the Zhiguli gates, but it was safe for the people, for the nature, and so on. As for the floods, again, the Volga River is crossed by many dams of the water power stations. So the level of the water is somehow regulated. If there is much snow in spring, maybe the only, not catastrophe, but the only thing which our region suffered from, especially in the 18th, in the 19th centuries, they were fires. Due to our very dry and hot climate, especially in summer, there really were lots of fires in the city. And nowadays, again, a very high risk of fires in the forests of the Zhiguli Mountains, in the forests which surround our city. But normally when the temperatures are very high, when it is very hot outside, they just somehow close the forest, so you can't go there, you can't spend time in the forest, so somehow to prevent the territory of our region from fires. Okay, I hope I've answered all your questions up till now. And one question about the English language. So I can say that there are very many people who speak English, but still, as for the younger generations, as the English is of course one of the main international languages nowadays, so if you want to speak English in Samara, you just have to look for a young person, for representatives of a younger generation, and likely you are going to find a speaker with whom you can talk. So this square, before, today it is called Chipaev Square due to that monument, but before 1917 it was called Theatrical Square due to a very beautiful building of our drama theater. Okay. As I've told you, Samara was a merchant city. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'll go further. So Samara was a merchant city, and due to its geographical position, as Samara stood on the cross of two main trade routes. The first one, the main trade route along the Volga River, a water route. The second one, a so-called Silk route from Asia to Europe. And here there was the cross of these main trade routes. And due to that fact, Samara turned into a great trade center. And for example, in the beginning of the 20th century, Samara was even called Russian Chicago due to its rapid economic growing. On the other hand, it got a nickname of Russian New Orleans. At that period, I mean the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century, Samara gave 20% of all the cereal, mostly wheat, exported from Russia to Europe. So our merchants were quite rich. And fortunately, they invested their money into the city. And behind me you can see a building of Samara Drama Theatre. It was constructed on the money gathered by our merchants in 1888. When they gathered enough money, they gave it to a Moscow architect with the words, "Build in any way you wish, but the theatre in Samara must be Russian." So the architect chose the style which was typical to the Moscow architecture of the 17th century. In such houses, our Tsars lived in Moscow in the 17th and in the 16th century. Under the towers, you can see the symbol of our region. It is a mountain goat. Again, a tricky thing. When the fortress of Samara was founded, the symbol was a mountain goat, a female mountain goat with little horns. The goats of such kind really lived in the Zhiguli mountains. They say when our Tsar saw that symbol, he said that won't do, because such animal could not frighten the enemies. And the horns of the goat grew. And it became a male goat with long horns. But the goats of such kind never lived in the Zhiguli mountains. Maybe you can meet them only in the Caucasus. But again, our people have come up to a compromise. Nowadays, we've got two symbols. As for the city of Samara, it's a female mountain goat with little horns. As for Samara region, it's a male goat with long horns. So that is the symbol of Samara region. That is all for this very beautiful square, and now we are going to continue our tour along the embankment of the Volga River. Okay, and now you are going to watch a short film about this square, how it looks like in winter.
Hello again, and now I think you see the again video from winter time in Samara, but now you more comfortable understand what happened on this video, because you see the winter part of Samara Drama Theatre. Yes, and I hope you have opportunity to make a screenshot and maybe use it like your background of maybe classes or meeting with friends, I don't know. Actually, I have an idea and suggest to make like a funny game. Please send us in our YouTube chat the smile, the one smile, one pic with your emotion during this tour. Why not? Let's share. Now you just find one smile and send it. For example, the happy, the serious, or some other kind of emotion. So let's share. And now I heard again from my head and international school team that now they are moving to the next place. I would like to make you a prompt. The next place is place which show why Samara is space capital of Russia. I think now you understand the next point, but let's guess and let's share your emotion about our what? About our life today in the comment. Yes, I heard that our team are a little bit ready to show you, but let's wait, and maybe you have opportunity to come to your kitchen to take a cup of tea and be ready to continue our tour. Now you will see the embankment. As you remember our previous walking, you have already seen embankment. Our embankment so long in Samara, one of the longest embankment in Europe, near the longest river in Europe, Volga. And now they try to make like a car tour for you. They prepare the app, as you remember the name of the app, Larix, and be ready to show you. So don't worry, and ready to see the excursion after several seconds. Now I'm standing also here to remind you, when you will post on Instagram, for example, use the hashtag summer school pin like on my t-shirt, yes. And I would like to ask our technical helper, are we ready? Yes, we're ready. It's time to see our team. They here. So continue
our excursion from the car. We are going to Okay, we continue our tour from the road. We can go a little bit faster. Okay. To the right, you can see the architecture of the Soviet period. It's the 30s, the 40s of the 20th century. And straight ahead, there is the complex of buildings which are now under reconstruction. It is the territory of one of our Orthodox monasteries. To tell the truth, it's a convent, a female monastery. Luckily, most of the buildings of that monastery survived during the Soviet period. Of course, they did not work like churches, it didn't work like monastery, but luckily they survived. And in 1991, the territory was returned to our Orthodox religion, to our Orthodox church, and today this monastery is under reconstruction. Before 1917 there were two monasteries in our city, a female and a male one. Unfortunately, the male one did not survive. It was ruined during the Soviet period. And on the other side of the street from the monastery, there is another unique complex of buildings, an industrial one. It is the territory of one of the oldest breweries of our country. It is Zhigulyovskaya brewery. So they can see me now? Okay, great. It is our Zhigulyovskaya brewery, which was founded by an Austrian man, von Vakana. He came to Russia at the end of the 19th century, and he started his brewery business here, and that brewery was founded. Von Vakana he was called a German spy during World War I. He and his family were sent out of our country. They were sent off Russia, but his brewery still works. We can see the brewery to the left. So now to the right we see the complex of the monastery, and to the left, can we turn the phone to the left? Oops, В другую сторону, Ильдар. Ага. Все. Пивзавод не получился. Мы едем прямо. So our brewery is the oldest, and up till now it produces one of the most famous kinds of Russian beer. It is called Zhigulevskaya beer due to our Zhiguli mountains. So some buildings of that brewery you can see now to the right. Zhigulevskaya beer is famous all over the country. А мы сможем левую сторону улицы показывать? Я просто не вижу. Ага. Okay. Next to the brewery, there are some buildings behind that yellow fence. It's the oldest power station of Samara. Nowadays, it gives hot boiled water for the system of central heating of Samara. I've told you that Russian winters are really severe ones, and without central heating we won't survive in Russia. So it's a very important system. It's a very important convenience in our houses. That power station is the oldest one of Samara. Initially it gave electricity to the central part of the city. It worked on gas, but nowadays it gives hot water for the central heating. Now we can appreciate the view over the Glory Square from the side of the Volga River. So you can see the White House, the central office of our governor and the government of Samara region, that monument. Now it's behind a tree, so that monument, a worker holding wings above his head as the symbol of our industrial city. And to the to the left, on the opposite side of the street, the most popular attraction of Samara, it's the embankment, the Volga embankment. Samara is really proud to have the longest and the most beautiful Volga embankment of all the Volga cities. Our embankment stretches for nearly 5 kilometers along the city center. It's for example, in summer, you can even see palm trees. Of course, they're taken away for the winter, but in summer you can see such trees in the territory of our embankment. It's one of the most popular places to have rest, to come here in their free time for our citizens. Another thing that along the embankment there are fine sand beaches, and our people, especially those who live in the city center, they're really very lucky because they just have to cross the road and they can enjoy themselves swimming and bathing in the Volga River. As for the temperature of the water, in summer normally it is something around 20, but this summer is untypically hot. We've got lots of sunny and hot days, and this summer the Volga was up to 24 degrees above zero. There are lots of sports grounds, playgrounds in the territory of embankment, cafes, restaurants, so everything you need to spend your free time. Very many people here, not only in summer, also in winter. Such people who are fond of, for example, cross-country skiing, come here to enjoy themselves and to spend their free time Besides, there is a very long skating rink here, also for those people who can come and skate here in winter. In summer, lots of sports are also played here. As I've told you, there are lots of sports ground, football fields, then for example, I don't know, beach badminton, beach tennis. They are also very popular, and those people which are fond of such sports can come here and enjoy their free time playing these games. Straight ahead, a tall building of steel and glass is the central office of the largest Russian oil company, Rosneft. Its Samara branch, Samara Neftegaz, is here in this building. Samara region is rich in oil and gas, and where there is oil and gas, there is always money. So we can say that Samara region is a quite prosperous region, and the level of living in our than the average one in our country. To the right, you can see a complex of buildings. It's the example how after 1991, when lots of factories and plots of our city, which were supported and financed by the government, as they normally worked for military purposes, and after 1991, those plants and factories, they were closed, and to the left, the opposite side, that is the example how the territory of the plant was turned into something different. Today it's one of the largest entertainment centers of Samara. It is called Kinap. It has a restaurant, bowling, swimming pool, karting, nightclub, fitness club. So again, everything you need to spend your free time. Some more part of our embankment, and in the middle of it you can see a white sail of one of the monuments of Samara. It's a boat. The boats of such kind sailed along the Volga River in the 14th, in the 16th century, when the fortress of Samara was founded. And today this boat, it is called Ladya, and it is one of the symbols of our city. For example, it is also the symbol of the cars which are produced in our region. There is a city of Tольятти in Samara region, which is the city where the largest automobile plant of our country is. It is out of us, which produces the most famous Russian cars, which are called Lada. Lada is the shortening of Ladya, and so the symbol of such cars is that boat, that Ladya, that boat with a sail. During World War II, when Samara became the second capital of the Soviet Union, not only the government was evacuated to Kuibyshev, to our city, but also many plants and factories from the western parts of our country, which had been occupied by the German army, they were also evacuated to Samara, to Kuibyshev. And among those factories, there was Voronezh aircraft plant, which produced low-flying attack planes, Il-2. Il stands for Ilyushin, the surname of the head designer, of the head constructor. And on the basis of that plant, after World War II, there was the start of the space program of our country. And the first rocket, the first space traveler rocket, Vostok, which took the first man from the Earth into space. It was Yuri Gagarin, the first Russian cosmonaut, and that rocket 2 parts out of 3 of that rocket, they were produced in Kuibyshev. Due to that concentration of industries during the Soviet period, Kuibyshev was a so-called closed city. It meant that nobody from abroad, especially even from Eastern European countries, from our friends, so-called communist countries, nobody from abroad could come to our city. Only in 1991, when the boundaries of the Soviet Union were opened, of the former Soviet Union were opened, Kuibyshev, then Samara, became able to be visited by people from abroad. And nowadays, the tallest monument of the city is a real space rocket. It's not a model, it's not a monument, it's a real traveler rocket Soyuz. Of course, it has never flown into space, as rockets, they're burnt in the atmosphere. And that rocket was constructed in the 70s of the 20th century. It was used to train our workers, our engineers of the plant. And when it became older, they say that our workers, they were told to destroy it. Fortunately, they didn't destroy a child. Imagine they hid it in the temperature of the plant. It was taken into several parts. And in the 90s of the 20th century, when all those projects became non-secret, that rocket, all the parts of the rocket, were put together, and today it is the tallest monument in the streets of Samara. To the left and to the right, you can see houses, typical Soviet architecture of the 80s of the 20th century. At that period, that street, that avenue, which is called Lenin Avenue, it was constructed, these houses were built here especially for the best workers and for the best engineers of our plants and factories. And at that period, I mean the end of the 20th century, most expensive, as in the Soviet Union you couldn't buy an apartment for yourself. You were given a flat, you were given an apartment by the government. They were for free, you didn't have to pay for them, but still they were free. And for example, the best workers and the best engineers were given the apartments here in this street. And the 90s of the 20th century, that tallest. Okay. So,
Hello again. I think you now understand the last but not the least interesting object of our city tour. Yes, it's a rocket. This rocket so beautiful, so big, and it's real rocket. I would like to tell you that it's real rocket. It's absolutely cool. Now, I just want to remind you about our emotion, that you can send this and you can ask questions. Yes, and now I'm again with you to stand, to talk maybe some minutes, and we will continue our stream. What interesting I would like to tell you, not weather in Samara, as you see, that Samara has very interesting transport system. Yes, we have 4 variants of transport. First of all, especially, and of course, bus. Next, tram and trolleybus. And the last one, metro. Yes, we have our metro in Samara. 10 stations. And maybe next station will be open in the 5 years, like this one. Also, we have a taxi, and now, like maybe 2 years ago or after World Cup, we have a lot of reconstruction and renovation with the road, and that's why there are a lot of traffic jams. For example, if we talk about the period near 6 p.m. after walking Samaras, there are a lot of people, and that's why a lot of traffic jams. And the key thing and interesting fact how to defeat it. To use tram, yes, we have tram. Tram, one of the oldest way of transport. It appeared in Samara in 1915, yes. If you would like to come from one place to another, use tram, and it's so cool. We also have tram, for example, to Samara Arena. Yes, we have Samara Arena in the stadium. It was built before the World Cup, and the aim of using is the World Cup is special for World Cup, and we have tram to the Samara Stadium. Also, we have tram number 20. This tram come from one part of city to another. Metro is also cool without any traffic jams. Yes, and we will continue. Also, we have trolleybus and bus. They also fast, but when the traffic jam, it's also cool. You friends, I'll stay with you here, and I would like to tell you that we have not only trolleybus, bus, metro, we have a taxi, we have a car, and this year appeared the bicycle and samokat. Samokat, it's like the special place, a special way of transport, and you can rent it and go. Yes, now in Samara there are a lot of citizens who like to be and make a ecological, but real ecological way of transport, not like petrol in the car. Let's continue our talking about Samara, and I would like to tell you that Samara has 9 districts. Each district has very interesting activity, and now I hear from our school that they are ready to continue. So let's see how they are.
During the Soviet period, Samara was the space center, the center for the space investigation program. And behind me, you can see the tallest monument of Samara. It's a real space rocket. It is the rocket Soyuz, which carries spaceships into space, and up till now, all the engines for all the types, for the rockets of all types, which are produced in our country, they are produced in our region. So Samara still plays a great role in space investigation. In the base of that rocket, there is a museum, the exposition of which is devoted to the role our city played and is still playing in space investigation. One interesting fact: after his flight into space, Yuri Gagarin landed in a neighborhood region of Saratov. But after his landing, he was taken straight not to Moscow. The first place he visited, he was taken to, was our city. And the first place he visited was the plant, because he wanted to say thanks to the engineers, to the workers who made that flight possible. And after his flight into space, after the 12th of April 1961, Yuri Gagarin spent 2 days in our city resting, and it must be said during that period new uniform was specially made for him, as he made the most rapid military career in the history. When he started, when he went into space, he was a lieutenant. In space, he became a mayor, and he landed as a captain. So 3 positions only during 188 minutes. That was the period, 108 minutes, which took him to make a circle round the Earth and to return onto the ground. So that is the end of our short tour. I hope that one day you'll have the opportunity to come to our city and to see everything yourself. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you like our excursions. If any questions, you are still welcome. And now you're going again to see this very place from the air in the winter. Goodbye. We are under the rocket. From here you can see the engines, very many of them in the lower part of the rocket. These engines are produced in our city. So many are needed because, for example, the weight of the rocket without fuel is nearly 30 tons. Together with all the fuel inside, it's up to 300 tons. So you can imagine how much power is needed to send that thing into space. And these unique engines are produced in our city.
Thank you, dear friends, for joining our city tour. We hope you like it, and we wish you have a nice time after this program, and see you tomorrow. Tomorrow you will have classes and you will have city tour, but not city tour. You will have excursion on the Samara University airfield. It also will be cool. So, спасибо. Пока-пока.